The story begins in the heart of America's horsepower age, the 1950s. Gas was cheap, roads were endless, and the race to build faster, louder, meaner cars had become a national obsession. Every automaker was chasing bragging rights, fighting to squeeze just one more mile an hour, one more spark of power from their engines. But deep inside Chevrolet's engineering headquarters in Detroit, something radical was taking shape. Engineers were no longer chasing bigger. They were chasing smarter. In 1957, Chevrolet unveiled a small, compact V8 that would send shockwaves through the automotive world. The 283 cubic inch small block. On paper, it didn't seem extraordinary, but what made it legendary wasn't its size. Well, see, it was its brain. Perched above that small block was something the world had never seen on a mass-produced American car. The Rochester Ramjet mechanical fuel injection system. Until then, carburetors ruled the roads. They were simple, cheap, and familiar, like the trusted heart of every car in America. Fuel injection, on the other hand, was exotic. It was the kind of technology you found in airplanes or European race cars. It wasn't supposed to work in a family Chevrolet. But when the engineers fired up that 283 with a ramjet system, everything changed. The engine ran smoother, cleaner, sharper. Throttle response was instant. Fuel delivery was exact. For the first time in American automotive history, a production engine delivered 1 horsepower per cubic inch. 283 horsepower from 283 cubic inches. Chevrolet called it the Fuelie, and overnight it became a symbol of mechanical perfection. The 283 Fuelie first appeared under the long, sleek hood of the 1957 Corvette. Suddenly, the Corvette wasn't just a pretty face. It was a genuine threat to European sports cars that had dominated endurance racing. With its new high-compression, fuel-injected heart, it could sprint from 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds and hold its own at Sebring and Daytona. At the center of this transformation was Zora Arkus Duntov, the brilliant and relentless engineer often called the father of the Corvette. Duntov didn't believe in half measures. To him, the Fuelie wasn't just an engine. It was a declaration. America could build world-class performance machines, and he would prove it on the racetrack. But the Corvette's victories were only part of the story. In 1957, Chevrolet's ambitions stretched beyond sports cars and road courses. There was another battlefield waiting, rougher, louder, wilder, the world of NASCAR stock car racing. Winning in NASCAR wasn't just about prestige, it was about sales. Win on Sunday, sell on Monday wasn't just a saying, but it was a corporate strategy. If a Chevrolet could win on the dirt ovals of the South, it would sell in the showrooms across America. But just as Chevrolet was preparing its attack, the racing world changed overnight. That same year, the Automobile Manufacturers Association, the AMA, declared a ban on factory racing involvement. After a series of deadly high-speed crashes, the automakers agreed to pull back from the sport. Officially, the decision was about safety. Unofficially, it was about politics. A move to protect the industry from government scrutiny and bad press. Chevrolet executives signed the pledge. Publicly, they walked away from racing. Privately, they didn't stop at all. In the shadows, a secret operation took shape in Atlanta, Georgia. Southern Engineering and Development Company, or known SEDCO. It was a front, a way for Chevrolet to keep its hands in the game while pretending not to. At SEDCO, a group of engineers led by Vince Piggins built a small number of factory-backed race cars, each one disguised as a humble Chevrolet 150 utility sedan. The press would come to know them by a different name, the Black Widows. They were stripped to the bone, no radios, no heaters, no chrome trim. Just reinforced frames, heavy-duty suspension, oversized brakes, and that same potent 283 cubic inch Fuelie V8 under the hood. The goal was simple: build a car that could survive the brutal punishment of NASCAR's Grand National Series and dominate everything in its path. When the Black Widows rolled onto the track, they looked ordinary, just another Chevy sedan. But when the flag dropped, everyone knew something was different. They were faster, smoother, more consistent. Where carbureted engines sputtered in long races, the Fuelie's precision never faded. Lap after lap, the Black Widows carved through the field, leaving rivals chasing fumes. Other teams grumbled that fuel injection didn't belong in stock car racing. It was too complex, too expensive, too foreign. But the numbers didn't lie. The Chevrolets were winning, a lot. In the 1957 season, Buck Baker drove his Chevrolet to the Grand National Championship, marking Chevrolet's first NASCAR title. Behind the headlines, it was the 283 Fuelie doing the heavy lifting. And that's when NASCAR got nervous. To the sports officials, the Fuelie wasn't just another engine. It was a threat to the balance of the entire series. NASCAR's identity rested on accessibility. The cars on the track were supposed to be versions of those available for purchase at the dealership. But hardly anyone could afford a car with fuel injection, and even fewer mechanics knew how to tune one. As the complaints grew louder, NASCAR's leadership acted. By mid-season, they announced a sweeping ban. No more fuel injection, no superchargers, carburetors only. The reasoning was framed in terms of fairness and cost control, but behind closed doors, everyone knew the truth. NASCAR had just banned the future. The 283 Fuelie was too good, too fast, too advanced. And in a sport built on close competition, dominance is a dangerous thing. In one decision, the world's most sophisticated American production engine was forced off the biggest stage it could ever play on. The Black Widows were sidelined. Their injectors were stripped out. Their engines refitted with carburetors, their magic muted. Chevrolet's engineers were furious. The technology they'd poured their hearts into, like the innovation that made history, had been declared illegal. And the irony was painful. Fuel injection had been outlawed for being too efficient. As the dust settled, the 283 Fuelie left NASCAR, but not before leaving its mark. It had proved its point. The old rules were changing, whether the rulebook liked it or not. The AMA ban soon shut down all factory-backed racing across Detroit, but inside Chevrolet, the spirit of the Fuelie refused to die. Manuals circulated quietly, competition guides, teaching dealers and racers how to build their own performance cars from showroom parts. In basements and barns, mechanics continued to experiment with the forbidden injection system, keeping the legend alive in whispers. Out on the street, the Corvette carried the Fuelie torch. Between 1957 and 1961, it remained the top performance option, evolving through higher compression ratios and hotter cams. It became the mark of the serious racer, the car for drivers who wanted more than noise. They wanted precision. Meanwhile, NASCAR doubled down on tradition. For decades, it clung to carburetors even as the rest of the world moved forward. Electronic fuel injection became standard in road cars in the 1980s, but in NASCAR, it remained a ghost from the past, a reminder of the day Chevrolet's innovation went too far. When NASCAR finally adopted fuel injection in 2012, engineers couldn't help but smile. After 55 years, the sport had come full circle, right back to where Chevrolet had been in 1957. The 283 Fuelie had been vindicated. Today, its name carries a weight few engines can match. It wasn't just the first American production engine to reach 1 horsepower per cubic inch. It was the engine that changed the way engineers thought about power, not as brute force, but as precision. Its influence spread far beyond its own generation. The 283's small block architecture evolved into the 327, the 350, and eventually into the LS and LT series, the backbone of American performance. Even now, every time a modern Corvette or Camaro fires up, it carries a little of that 283 DNA in its veins. But for all its technical glory, what keeps the legend alive is the drama, the secrecy of SEDCO, the forbidden victories of the Black Widows. The sense that the Fuelie didn't just win, it scared the establishment into changing the rules. That's why the 283 Fuelie isn't remembered as just another engine. It's remembered as a moment in time, when innovation collided with authority, when progress outpaced permission. The story doesn't end with triumph or with tragedy, it ends with transformation. NASCAR moved on, Chevrolet evolved, But the echo of that little small block, that sharp, metallic roar of 283 cubic inches running on pure precision, still reverberates through every race engine built today. If you stand beside a 1957 Corvette Fuelie, chrome glinting in the sun, and listen closely to the rhythmic pulse of its injectors, you can almost hear history repeating itself. The hum of rebellion beneath the hood, the whisper of a technology once feared, now revered. The Fuelie wasn't just fast, it was inevitable. And in 1957, inevitability was enough to make NASCAR afraid. Because once you've glimpsed the future, there's no going back. The 283 Fuelie left NASCAR, but it never left the track. Its spirit whispered in garages and barns and the dreams of every engineer and racer who refused to settle for ordinary. The engine that was outlawed for being too precise still waits, waiting for the next revolution.